What's up everybody, your boy Swillow here, and today I'm going to be going over the score system so that you can get those S ranks and unlock the secret boss in a new Kairos gate mode. So first let's look at the scoring tutorial and let me break it down how the scoring system works in the first place. Kairos gate performance. Points were awarded for battle performance in each circle. Clive's score is displayed in the upper right of the screen. Below this is located a gauge for the technical bonus multiplier. Executing a wide range of complex combinations will cause the gauge to fill, increasing points earned. So here we have the scoring chart, Kairos gate scoring. Successfully performed battle techniques are displayed in real time on the right hand of the screen. Technique scoring is as follows. So as you can see, it goes from colored text category, white, blue, cyan, green, and rainbow. And then there's a star rating in each category. So white 1 star, white 2 star, white 3 star. So as you can see on the left hand side, at the bottom we have punishing sick. Punishing sick is a 1 star white, so that's 100 points. And then above it you see precision sick, which is blue 1 star, which is 500 points. So how this is going to work to calculate your score, let's say you hit punishing sick and it does 1000 damage. You're going to score 1000 points because you did 1000 damage, and then you're going to get a bonus 100 points because you triggered the punishing sick white 1 star battle technique. And then if you look at precision sick above it, if you did 1000 damage with precision sick, you're going to score 1500 points. 1000 points from the precision sick doing 1000 damage, and then 500 points from the 1 star blue battle technique bonus. So that's the basic way to understand how the score system works. It's based on how much damage the attack does and what battle technique it triggers. Now, a lot of actions do trigger battle techniques, but there's some actions that do not trigger battle techniques at all, or they only trigger battle techniques under specific criteria. So you have to keep that in mind. Next, we have the technical bonus. Executing a variety of complex attacks and techniques will increase your technical bonus multiplier, improving the rate at which battle performance is tallied. Avoiding actions or taking damage will cause the multiplier to gradually deplete. So this is really important. They added this a couple updates ago, and basically this multiplier works. It starts at 1.0 where you're basically not getting any multiplier at all. It goes to 1.2, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, and then finally 3.0. So when you get to 3.0, you're getting 3 times the amount of points, which is pretty significant. So that's one of your main priorities. Is at the start of each battle, you want to try to get to 3.0 as fast as possible so that you can start generating a large amount of points. So if you see that at 3.0, if you got a rainbow 3 star, that would go from 60,000 to 180,000. That's a pretty big jump. So it's really important to get that technical bonus multiplier over just trying to get high battle technique bonuses, because when you're getting when you get 3 times, that can make even small things like, let's say the green 1 star becomes 60,000, which is on par with a rainbow 3 star. And then a green 3 star is going to become 90,000 and so on. So even the white stuff at 3 times starts to become pretty nice. Like a 3 star white, 500 becomes 1,500, which is much more helpful than 500. And then finally we have the target times. Clearing a circle within certain target times will earn you a bonus multiplier for your final score. Target times and other scoring information can be confirmed in the Kairos gate menu by pressing the pause button during battle. So basically each wave of enemies you must defeat under a certain amount of time to get the target time bonus. And this is really important for 2 reasons. One, you're going to get a score multiplier. As you can see over here, level 1 is a 1.1, level 2 is a 1.3, and level 3 is a 1.5. 1.5 is pretty nice. Let's say you score 2 million points. That becomes like a free million, basically. And then on top of that, not only are you getting a score multiplier, but you're getting a boon point bonus. So as you can see, level 1 you get 1, level 2 you get +2, level 3 you get +3. So that's a pretty big deal, because boon points is going to allow you to buy boons that help you generate more points, as well as just other ways to buff Clive and make him more effective in general. So getting that level 3 target time is really, really important, both for your score and for boons that could possibly help you score better in future waves. So that's basically how the score system works. Let's go into training mode, and let me go over each of the abilities and kind of just give you a basic idea of what you should be considering. Okay, so first let's look at each option here. We're going to start with Phoenix. So in order to see what battle techniques an ability has, you're going to go over here, over an ability, and you're going to press triangle for details, and then it's going to pop up a list of the details. So as you can see here, it has the different categories, how to use the move, details, the mastery, what happens when you master it, and then you have the category here called battle techniques. So this is what's important for scoring. So basically, if you perform any of these actions, you're going to get a score bonus. So shift strike, land a shift strike on the ground. Aerial shift strike, land a shift strike in the air. Shift combo, complete a combo on a single target after landing a shift strike. Aerial shift combo, you got shift shot, aerial shift shot, lifting shift shot. And each ability has its own battle techniques. So each time you trigger these battle techniques, you're going to get a bonus. So let's just go out here and use Phoenix Shift real quick. So let's say we do a shift strike. So as you can see over there, it pops up on the left as a 2-star white ability. So shift strike is a 2-star white ability, which is 300 points, I believe. And then let's say we do the aerial shift strike. So I can do the aerial shift strike, and as you can see, it pops up over there. That's also a 2-star white ability. So basically, the easier it is to trigger the battle technique, usually the weaker scoring it is, and the stuff that's harder is going to be higher scoring. So let's move over to actual abilities. We have Rising Flame here. So Rising Flame's battle technique. Perform a combo on an enemy after launching it into the air with Rising Flames. So basically, once you launch an enemy with Rising Flames, you have to continue to juggle them, and you're going to get a battle bonus based on a juggle up to 20 hits. So the first battle bonus triggers at 1 hit, the second triggers at 5 hits, 10 hits, 15 hits, and then finally 20 hits, which is really, really important because you get a big bonus if you get the 20 hit combo after launching. So let me just kind of show an example of that. Okay, so if we do Rising Flames here, so as you can see on the right, Rising combo times 5, Rising combo times 10, Rising combo times 15, Rising combo times 20. So as you can see, the last one, Rising combo 20, is a green 1-star, which is 20,000 points. That's pretty significant. So not only am I getting the 20,000 points, but I'm also getting the bonus from all of the previous as well. So that's pretty important. You want to consider getting the highest bonus in certain situations like this. And there's a few other moves similar to that have a combo bonus like that, like Wicked Wheel, for instance, has the same battle bonus, perform an aerial combo on an enemy after lifting it with Wicked Wheel. But the thing to consider with a technique like this is it only works on light enemies. So when you're fighting heavy enemies that cannot be launched, this battle technique is impossible to trigger. So you really have to calculate, when you bring a battle technique like this, you have to calculate where you can use it and use it appropriately. So Rising Flames will be strong in the earlier waves where you're fighting light enemies, but it will be less effective for scoring against the boss, which is usually at the end of each wave. So you have to consider that when you bring an ability like this. Next, let's look at Scarlet Cyclone. So Scarlet Cyclone has a battle technique called Collateral Cyclone, and this is gonna go up based on how many enemies you strike. So the more enemies you strike, the higher the bonus will be, ultimately to a rainbow bonus. Now I can't really show this effectively in training mode because they don't let you spawn multiple enemies, but basically the goal with anything that says collateral is to hit as many enemies as possible. And once again, you have to consider the enemy layouts. Earlier in the waves, you're going to be fighting multiple small weak enemies, so you can trigger this bonus, but when you get to like a one-on-one boss fight, this bonus becomes less effective. So let's say whenever you're on a wave, like a boss fight wave where you know you're only fighting one enemy, bringing something like Scarlet Cyclone is pretty useless because you're never going to be able to proc its battle technique. So consider that. You want to try to bring moves that are appropriate for the stage. Next, we have Heat Wave. So Heat Wave is a counter. So this has the battle technique called Heat Wave Counter. Both dispel a shot and strike an enemy with the same Heat Wave. So basically, you want to counter an enemy's attack. And once again, this applies to other counters as well, like Rook's Gambit. Strike an enemy with Rook's Gambit Counter Strike. So basically, you want to counter. It's pretty straightforward. So counters can be used against any enemy. But obviously, Heat Wave Counter counters projectiles. You have like Titan's counter that counters melee attacks and such. So you have to consider the type of enemies you're fighting, what type of attacks they use more. All considerations you have to make. Next up, we have Flames of Rebirth. Flames of Rebirth deal damage to multiple enemies with Flame of Rebirth. So this is a collateral ability, the same as Scarlet Flames. The more enemies you hit, the higher the bonus is going to trigger. This move in general has a really long cooldown time though. So you will not be able to trigger that battle technique often. You have to consider the cooldown as well. And you also want to consider the damage output. I didn't mention that earlier, but you want to consider the damage output of these abilities, right? Because if you kill the enemies too fast, you're not going to be able to trigger the battle techniques as much. So there's certain abilities that deal more damage and less damage. Ideally, if you can trigger a high battle technique with a low damaging move, the enemy won't die as fast, which gives you the opportunity to hit them and score with more battle techniques and score more points. But you also have to consider your time bonus as well. If you take too long to defeat the enemies, you won't be able to complete the wave in the appropriate time. So once again, we'll just go over here. Deadly Embrace has a number of techniques. Now, one thing I want to mention about Deadly Embrace is that Deadly Embrace does not necessarily hit the enemy. So this becomes really interesting because battle techniques do not trigger unless they deal damage. So there's battle techniques like Combination Stomp, for instance, where you jump cancel off of an enemy. This has a battle technique bonus, but it does not actually give you any points at all because it doesn't deal damage. And the reason for this is so that you can't just farm points without hurting an enemy ever. You know, you could just sit there and spam Combination Stomp forever since it doesn't deal any damage. So that's the same deal with Deadly Embrace here. Deadly Embrace does not deal any damage, so it does not give you a bonus specifically for doing it, but it has bonuses that can trigger after. So for instance, you have Deadly Chain here. Use Deadly Embrace on an enemy between attacks. You have Deadly Combo. Land a 4-hit combo on a single target on the ground after pulling it with Deadly Embrace. So if you follow up after using Deadly Embrace, then this can suddenly start to trigger score bonuses. But Deadly Embrace itself is not able to trigger bonuses on its own. So keep that in mind. We have Wicked Wheel. This is the same as Rising Flame. This has, once you've launched the enemy with Wicked Wheel, you want to do a combo to get the bonus. Rook's Gambit is a counter. Gouge. So Gouge is our first multi-hit ability. Strike an enemy multiple times with a single gouge. So basically, the more times you hit an enemy, the more bonus you're going to get. And what's really important with a move like this is that it doesn't matter. The more enemies you hit, the more times you can hit with this ability, which means you can get higher bonuses. Against a single enemy, Gouge is only going to hit 15 times. But if you hit 2 enemies, you're going to hit 30 times. 3 enemies, 45 times. So you get the point. So basically, if you can hit multiple enemies with Gouge, suddenly that score multiplier is going to go up considerably because you're going to hit more times with the move. Let me see if I have it. Let me put it on my kit real quick and just show you an example of how it works. Okay, so Gouge. So Gouge times 10, Gouge times 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so it hits 30 times, not 15. So imagine that. And as you can see, the more times I hit, the higher color rating that the bonus becomes. So let me do it one more time so you can just watch as the text changes colors. So first it's a blue, cyan. So there you go. It goes from a blue to a cyan as you get over 20. So keep that in mind. The higher, and as you hit higher and higher, you're going to be triggering a higher score bonus. So that's really important. Then you have Aerial Blast. Aerial Blast is hit based as well. Strike an enemy multiple times with a single target. So once again, if you put this ability out, maybe on a single enemy it's going to hit 60 times. But if you get like 5 enemies in there, then suddenly this hits like 300 times. And that battle bonus score becomes pretty incredible. So that's one thing you have to consider. The more enemies there are, the higher score bonus you're going to be able to trigger off of moves like this. However, at the same time, it's still useful against a single enemy. Unlike collateral bonus moves, where you have to hit multiple enemies to trigger the score bonus, this works whether there's 1 enemy or 2 enemies or 5 enemies. It's just that the more enemies there are, the more potential for you to get a higher score bonus. Next, we have Blind Justice. So this has a number of, this only has a few actually. Strike an enemy, single enemy with Blind Justice, strike multiple enemies with a single Blind Justice, trigger a Blind Justice, ball, lightning, discharge, So basically just using the move, trying to hit as many enemies as you can is going to trigger a bonus. We have Pile Driver. This is a collateral move, hit multiple enemies with a single Pile Driver. Thunderstorm, strike an enemy with Thunderstorm. So this is a really, really interesting move. This is also a popular move in the scoring meta. So basically, just the move finishing triggers the battle technique bonus. It doesn't matter how many times it hits and how many enemies it hits. Just the move hitting an enemy and completing is going to trigger the battle technique bonus, and it's a pretty hefty bonus too. So this is a popular move for scoring. So let me just show it off real quick. Now, of course, this move does a lot of damage too, so it's a good score move, particularly when you just don't have anything better to use. Like, it's universally good. So as you can see, Thunderstorm is a 1-star green, which is 20,000 points. It's pretty impressive. So basically, when you just don't really have any other strong option you can trigger, something like Thunderstorm is useful at all times. Whether it's a weak enemy, a boss enemy, you're always going to get that 20,000 bonus, which is so helpful. So this is definitely a move to consider if you just want a universally useful option at all times. Then we have Lightning Rod. So Lightning Rod's battle technique, strike an enemy with a charged burst caused by an enemy attack. So this is interesting because most people like to use Lightning Rod in combos where they are hitting it, but that does not trigger a battle technique bonus. You're not getting a score bonus if you use Lightning Rod like that. In order to get a battle technique bonus with Lightning Rod, the enemy has to hit it. So this is where you have to really master enemy attack patterns and such and lay the move out at the right time so that they trigger and hit it themselves. So that's really important to consider. So if you like moves like Lightning Rod, you may have to reevaluate how you use it, because just hitting it and using it in the normal strategies that you commonly see will not generate much score. In fact, it's gonna be very against you in that regard. Judgment Bolt, strike multiple enemies with a single Judgment Bolt. So that's a collateral move. Titanic Block. So Titanic Block is similar to Deadly Embrace, where it does not deal damage itself, but it can be good for building tech gauge. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Deadly Embrace is really good for building tech gauge, even though it doesn't deal damage. So stuff like this can be useful for building tech gauge. Blocking attacks also generates Limit Break, which is really useful for scoring as well. We're going to get to that eventually, but blocking generates Limit Break. And then, of course, you can do the actual follow-up attacks, which do score. Next, we have Upheaval. So Upheaval is a collateral move. Strike multiple enemies with a single Upheaval. Now, this move is really, really strong, though. So you're probably going to kill enemies, which makes it a less effective score option compared to other collateral moves, since it's just so strong. Wind Up. So Wind Up, strike an enemy with a precision Wind Up. So hitting a precision Wind Up is going to generate a battle technique bonus. Now, once again, Similar to Upheaval, this move is really, really strong. So it's probably going to kill whatever enemy it hits or just deal massive damage. Now, it does generate a lot of points as a result, but it's just going to kill the enemy, and that's going to make it hard for you to score. I definitely want to show... Okay, so let me kind of show what I mean by this. I'm going to show off 2 examples of a combination. Let's see. Let's get wind up. So I'm going to turn the enemy invincibility off for this so we can see. So let's say I hit the enemy with wind up right now. So I dealt 40,000 damage. The enemy actually survived, surprisingly. Let me try this again. Okay, so there you go. I do a wind up into a mortal blow, and that gave me 54,000 points. That's not too bad, but I can get way more points if I do an actual combo. So let's say I do something like this. I was wrong. I lied to you guys. I was wrong. I mean, you can, but let me show you something that would actually get me more points. So if I do something like this, so as you see here, I got 63,000 points. Now, part of that is because I was building my tech bar as well, but basically doing more elaborate combinations or more options to score is going to get you more points than just killing the enemy as fast as possible. Now, there's definitely better combos you could do. Like, none of that stuff I was doing right there was like optimal. So you could definitely score like up to like 100,000 points on a solo enemy if you have a really efficient combo. But basically, yeah, that's basically what you want to consider. Using a single windup is going to be easy, but it's not going to give you the most points possible compared to doing a more complex setup or chain of actions. So keep that in mind. We have Raging Fist. This is the counter. So strike a single enemy multiple times with Raging Fist. And you actually don't have to counter with this, I believe. It doesn't say you have to counter. So basically, you could just hit the uncountered version and it would work as well. But the counter version deals more hits, so keep that in mind. The counter version is obviously going to trigger a higher bonus than the non-counter version, most likely. So Earthen Fury, strike multiple enemies with a single Earthen Fury. That's a collateral bonus. Wings of Light. So battle technique bonus, execute a level 1 Mega Flare dodge, execute level 4 Mega Flare, blah, blah, blah. Strike an enemy multiple times with a single Mega Flare. So all related to its technique. Flare Breath, I believe this is collateral, yes. Strike up multiple enemies with a single Flare Breath. Impulse, strike 2 enemies with a single Impulse. Satellite, strike an enemy multiple times with a single Satellite. So this is something you probably see me use a lot, and this is why. It works on any amount of enemies. This is why this is usually a staple in my kit. Whether I'm fighting one weak enemy or strong enemy, Satellite always works. It's always going to trigger a bonus. Now, it's not necessarily the most optimal scoring bonus that you can get, but it's easy. So if you want something that's easy and you don't have to think about when you're using it, Satellite is an amazing option to put into your kit. No matter what you're fighting, no matter when you're using it, it's always going to be generating a battle technique. Then we have Giga Flare. Strike an enemy multiple times with a single Giga Flare. So Giga Flare is a really, really strong score move, but you have to consider hitting multiple enemies with it. Hitting a single target is alright, but if you can hit like 3 or 4 enemies with this, that battle technique bonus really comes through. Next we have Cold Snap. Inflict an enemy with frostbite, inflict an enemy with permafrost, deliver a mortal blow to a frozen enemy. So these don't deal damage inherently, but if you attack an enemy afterwards, then you can start triggering bonuses. Mesmerize. Mesmerize is collateral. Strike multiple enemies with a single mesmerize. Rhyme. So Rhyme is a multi-hitting move. Once again, with multi-hitting moves like this, the more enemies you hit, the more hits it's going to do, which means you have a higher chance to score more points. So consider that. Hitting 3 enemies is going to get you more points than hitting 1 enemy. We have Diamond Dust. Collateral. Strike multiple enemies with a single Diamond Dust. You know, this is a great move, but obviously it's strong, so it's going to kill enemies kind of fast. Ice Age. Strike multiple enemies with a single Ice Age. So this used to be one of the definitive leaderboard scoring moves because it deals very little damage while having a high collateral bonus. Now, the move got buffed in this recent patch. The damage on it got buffed. And as a result, it kills enemies faster, which means you can't abuse it like you could pre-patch. But it's still one of the best scoring options if you like going for that collateral scoring gameplay style. Next, we have Odin. So you get battle technique bonuses for triggering level 1 through 5 Zantetsuken. But you have to consider, you also have Flash of Steel from your, you have the parry and the dodge counter that you get battle techniques from as well. Once again, Odin is super popular because of his level 5 Zan, which triggers a nice bonus, but it also deals a ton of damage. So keep that in mind. If you really like Zan, it's not very good for scoring because it's going to kill the enemies. And if you kill the enemies, that's less opportunity to score points. So keep that in mind. The best time to use a level 5 Zan is when the enemies are almost dead. So if you get all the enemies near health and they're going to die in the next hit anyways, and then you use a level 5 Zan, you know, you're going to get all of those points. You're going to get, like, level 5 Zan is a rainbow text. I don't know what star it is. I don't know if it's 3-star. I think it's a 3-star. It's a rainbow 3-star. It's a rainbow. That's all I know. I don't know if it's 3-star or 2 or 1, but it's a rainbow. So rainbow is the highest scoring multiplier you can get. So if you use this move on enemies that are basically dead, then you can get a nice juicy score bonus because it doesn't matter if the enemies die from Zan anyways because they were going to die from the next random hit. We have Heaven's Cloud. Strike multiple enemies. That's a collateral move. Gugnir. Strike multiple enemies. Basically a collateral move as well. Once again, these types of options, collateral options, they work only against multiple enemies, but when you're fighting a solo target, you're not going to trigger that bonus. Rift Slip. So this is a more unique option. Rift Slip. Use Rift Slip after attacking an enemy and follow up with a different attack. So basically, if you use Rift Slip as an attack cancel, you're going to trigger the battle technique bonus. Dancing Steel. Land all hits from a single Dancing Steel on a single enemy. So this can be relatively effective. It triggers on a single enemy, but obviously the move is just like really dramatic to use. So you would want it, you could use it, but the move just takes a lot of time. It doesn't deal too much damage, and you don't really need like Zan level 5 like that when you're going for score. When you're playing like story, sure, this move becomes really good, but in scoring, it's kind of whatever. Okay, Leviathan. So Leviathan has strike an enemy with Tidal Stream, strike an enemy with Charge Torrent, etc., etc. So performing each of these actions is going to trigger a battle technique bonus. Crosswell. Collateral. Strike multiple enemies with a single Crosswell. Deluge. Strike an enemy multiple times with a single Deluge. So this is good for single targets or boss enemies. Abyssal Tear. Okay, this move is crazy. This move is just so good. So strike an enemy multiple times with a single vent. And this works against a single target. It works against multiple targets. When you do the level 4 version of this against multiple targets, your score will fly. This is such a good move. So I would highly consider bringing this as a universal score option. Then we have Ultima's Kit, Ascension. Execute a 4-hit combo, strike an enemy with Advent, blah blah blah. It's the same as other iconic feats, just use all of its various moves and you're going to trigger a battle bonus. We have Ultima Demise, strike multiple enemies, that's a collateral move. We have Dominion, this is collateral as well, strike multiple enemies. I don't know what's that. Proselytize? I don't know. Perform a combo on an enemy after launching it into the air. So this is similar to Rising Flames. Launch the enemy with this, and then do a combo afterwards up to 20 hits, and you're going to get a bonus. Now, the thing that's really cool about this move is you can use it in the air, and if you use it in the air, it deals less damage, which gives you a chance to hit that 20-hit bonus more easily. Because Rising Flames and Wicked Wheel actually do good damage. They will probably halfway kill an enemy. But Prozala, this move in the air will do very little damage, which gives you more chance to do a bigger combo afterwards. Then we have Voice of God. Strike an enemy multiple times. So this could work against a single enemy or multiple enemies. And I'm sure the more enemies you hit at once, I've never actually used this move yet, so I can't really speak from experience, but I figure the more enemies you hit with this, the higher bonus you're going to get. This could be a really good move, but I don't know. I have to experiment with it. And that's basically it. So let me just kind of go through here. Let's just sort of make a build. I'm going to make a build and explain what each move in this build is going to do for me. Just to give you an idea. That doesn't mean you have to use this build. You can. You can use this build, but you don't have to. I'm just going to break it down. Okay, so first, I'm going to pick Rift Slip. Rift Slip is not the best scoring move, but I love it, and it still can trigger a score bonus at all times. Next, we're going to pick Impulse. So Impulse is another one of my favorite moves. So this triggers a battle bonus when it hits 2 enemies. So against a solo enemy, you're not going to trigger the battle bonus for this. So if you're in a one-on-one boss fight, you may want to switch this move out. But I like this move in general just because of how effective it is. So Impulse is usually a staple in my kit. Next, I'm going to pick Gouge. This is another usual staple. This works against one enemy, it works against multiple enemies. And it's very effective in general. So this is a great way to trigger battle bonus no matter the situation. You could also swap this for Deluge, which is pretty similar, but it's a ranged version. Now, this move is a little harder to hit multiple enemies with compared to Gouge. Gouge can hit multiple enemies more easily, but this is safer to use. You could even bring both of these moves together if you just really want to be hardcore like that, but the problem is that you're definitely going to be lacking in damage output or mobility if you bring both of these moves, because both of these moves are going to lock you in place for quite a long time. So I would bring one or the other, but maybe not both. Okay, and then next up, we are going to bring Abyssal Tear. Like I said, this move is just so good. It works against single target, it works against multiple targets. This is basically my main DPS move. This is what I used when I got S rank. So this move is just really, really effective. There's other strong options you could bring. You could bring like an ultimate like Aerial Blast or something, I guess, if you want something that's slightly comparable, but not really. But I really like this move. This move is just so good. And then 2 simple moves here. Willow Wikes. This move is kind of cheesy, but this mode is not easy. So a lot of you, I would consider it, you know, once you get better, I would say if you're like really going for a high leaderboard score, I would not use this because the battle technique bonus it triggers is not as effective as other moves. I actually didn't go over this today. I didn't go over Ifrit's moves. So Limit Break. Limit Break has a battle technique. Execute Limit Break and then defeat an enemy while semi-primed. Also, something not listed here, when you do your combo in Limit Break, it has a bit battle technique bonus as well, and it's also one of the best battle technique bonuses in the game. So it's like a 20,000 point. That's like a green 1 star, I believe. And if you use the air combo, the limit break air combo is faster than the ground combo. So a very, very popular strategy for scoring is to go into limit break and spam the air combo, because each time you finish the air combo, you're going to get 20,000 points. And then if you have a ×3 multiplier, that's 60,000 points, which is huge. So limit break is going to become your best friend for scoring in general. It's a universally strong option, regardless of what iconic abilities you bring. Limit break always got your back. Then we got ignition. This is a collateral move, hit multiple enemies. Willow Wikes, strike a single target with Willow Wikes fireball multiple times. So this is based on hitting an enemy multiple times, but the battle technique modifier bonus is very low, so you're bringing this more for utility. It's still going to proc a bonus, which is nice. Something is better than nothing, because sometimes other abilities will do nothing. Willow Wikes will always do something, so you can bring this both for its utility and it'll have a small impact on your score. And then, of course, another one of my favorites that I mentioned, Satellite. So this is basically the build that I used to S-rank my run. Satellite, once again, this works on a single target. It doesn't matter if you're fighting a solo boss or not. It's not the highest scoring move, but it's consistent. So basically, if you look at my whole kit here, my kit is super consistent. Satellite, Willow Wikes, Gouge, Abyssal Tear, and Rift Slip work no matter what. And then the only situational move I have in here is Impulse, which has to hit at least 2 enemies, but a lot of times you will be fighting 2 enemies. So this move is not terrible, and you can always swap this move out for so many other moves at any time. Like when you're fighting a boss especially, I would swap this out. Like I would, let's say, if I wanted to swap this out for something that's actually good at scoring, I would bring a counter, bring Rook's Gambit. You could even bring something like Aerial Blast, some type of multi-hit base move. You could bring Thunderstorm right here. So right here, this build right here, all of these moves are effective no matter what, whether you're fighting one enemy or multiple enemies. So this build right here will be very helpful. This could be a considered build that you could run if any of you are looking for something, you don't want to figure out a build yourself. This build right here works. You could also run Impulse like I did in my run, but if you really want to amplify your score, Thunderstorm is going to give you a lot more points than Impulse will, but Impulse is very quality of life. Or you could use Impulse during the regular enemy mobs, and then whenever you get to like every fifth stage where you fight in a one-on-one boss fight, switch to Thunderstorm, switch Impulse out for Thunderstorm or something else. So anyways, that's it. I know this video was long, very rambly, but I just wanted to explain this score system because I know a lot of people probably haven't been taking the score system very seriously, but now it's rather important if you want to fight the secret boss in the Kairos Gate. If you have any questions, just let me know down below. Even share some builds. If you guys S-rank this mode, share the build that you S-ranked with. So let's share some builds, let's share some strategies. Let's get into this. I think the score system is way more fun in Kairos Gate than it is in arcade mode. So I'm really looking forward to possibly seeing more people get into the leaderboard running and score running in the Kairos Gate, because it's actually really fun. It's really fun. They made it much more engaging. There's a lot more depth to it. So definitely try it out. But yeah, ask questions below, share your builds. Even if you want to share your build and I can critique it, if you're struggling with it or you want some ideas of how to use some moves you really like, just let me know. Anyways, peace. Thank you all for watching.